Nothing says spring other than fishing more than the fact that the Greater Philadelphia RV Boat Show comes to Oaks, Pennsylvania every year the first week of March, right in around there. And that's always a nice place to go. Take a look at some new rigs, take a look at campgrounds that are out there. And this year I got a chance to go out and spend a couple hours there on the Saturday of the show. I was a little disappointed that my ultimate goal was to go there to find some more innovative gear, not necessarily rigs, but I would have liked to have seen more stands where, you know, they were showing more gear, and I didn't find that. But I will say, side note, and I'll link it down below, one of the things that Beth and I found on our last camp outing down to Georgia was Gander World. Camping World and Gander Outdoors have merged as one. Camping World has bought Gander Outdoors, and they have about 2 or 3 now sites where they've merged a Camping World store with a Gander Outdoors store and put the two together. And it is really cool. I mean, they literally have everything from fishing, hunting. They have a chair world for outdoor chairs, and that's a place to really go and see some gear, either online or if you're ever down south. I know there's one right at, I believe it's Roanoke, Virginia, right along, I guess that's 81 there. 77, no, it's 81. And it's a great store. Beth and I have spent quite a bit of time there. But anyway, so that is one place you can go to get some innovative ideas and gear and so forth. But the RV show I wanted to take a look at because I wanted to see what vans are being offered. And I was really pleased to see that all the brands are offered, not just the Sprinters, not just the Promasters, but the Transit was there as well. So, and there was only one Transit there, and mostly, I will say, still mostly they're Sprinters from Mercedes. There were several more Promasters, one of the pop-up Promasters with the lift-up lid, and one Transit, which we'll get into. So, but it was a scaled-down show, but a good show. But let's take a look at some of the stuff they had. So these were the first 2 Sprinters that I came across, and kind of high-end units, really nice, you know, dual wheel in the back, and they need that because, you know, they have the bathrooms inside, has some large water tanks, etc. This particular one is the Regency, and it's nice. It's got 4 seats in it. One of the things I really like about the Mercedes, which we don't have in the Transit, is both front seats swivel, and that's pretty cool. But this is, it's a nice unit. I think almost for Beth and I's taste, perhaps a little too, I don't want to say too nice, but at the same time, man, I would junk that thing right up. It's nice as far as comfort, the seats. Some of the things I don't like about it are the counter space to it, and it just seems like they would use such a lot of power. It has air conditioning units in it, it has microwave in it, a full-blown refrigerator in it, and this is something that, while you can go off-grid, you're going to be hard-pressed. One of the things I was really looking at in these vans were the shower and lavatory facilities and how they installed them in the van. I'm kind of interested in that and some modifications we can make to ours. That was pretty cool. The prices on these vans, man, especially the Mercedes, they're really up there. If you can afford it, great, but you know, that's just something that there's a reason why we just bought a bare bones one and built our own. It was just far more affordable. This is another Mercedes. You can see the shiny interior to it. Man, honestly, I would mess that up in no time. I'd scratch it up. And it's such a huge refrigerator, I've got to imagine it's going to just go through a ton of power inside. It's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. You can see the door to the bathroom there on the right-hand side. Really nice induction cooktop, plenty of counter space, and a nice sink. That's pretty cool. I do like that. Not all of them had a ton of counter space in it, but again, all of that shine and so forth. You know, fly fishing and being out, we would we would just wreck that thing in no time. And 120,000, that's, you know, again, just something way beyond my price tag of something we were willing to spend. Here's a nice Promaster. This is a pretty cool unit with a canopy that came out the side of it. It wasn't the high-end unit, but it was actually pretty nice. I really kind of liked it. But again, just for our particular lifestyle, it was so bright inside, and at $9,000, again, with all of the shiny everything in it, and just everything white and bright, I just know myself, I would wreck the inside of that in a heartbeat. And any kind of resale I might ever want from it, yeah, I'm not gonna have it. So, you know, I think that's one of the things I noticed with this show, is it just shows why, for me personally, building one is just gonna be what works for me. Now, one of the things with this particular unit, and a lot of these units, is their displays, their heads-up displays. What is your power? What is your water? Etc., etc. And they're awesome, but that's thousands of dollars worth in the value of that van, that they've put all of these cool gauges on there, and they all have it, and they're really glitzy, they're cool, but at the end of the day, I just can't figure out what I'm really gaining from having that particular information in such a fancy format. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, in our van, let me kind of bring in here, I'll turn this on. Here's display number 1. And it shows me what, you know, currently the battery's charging out there, but, you know, I know what the charge of my battery is. I have a 12-volt charger here, and I have 2 USBs there. And honestly, if I want more readout, I go here. And I get plenty of Fitbit steps, that's always a good thing. And I go right to the goal 0 for about, you know, 10 steps that I walk around the van, and I get that display. And honestly, if you look at the back of the van, I could always just reach the camera down over there and kind of view my phone camera down in there from up on the bed and see what the display is. So I think, you know, I think we have our displays really set. So again, in like previous videos where I've talked about the big rigs versus van, and I'm not down in the big rigs, and I'm not downing people that would buy these, and I'm not downing these rigs. These are awesome. I'm saying for me, for Beth and I's taste, for what we need, this is just so much that I just don't know what I would do with it. And honestly, if I really break it down, they're probably putting thousands of dollars of the price of the van into something like that. That really, I don't know, I mean, the charger up in the front, or the display up in the front, that was $29 on Amazon. The Goal Zero battery, that display came with the battery. So for me, it just works. So here's the Transit, and this was really cool. And I think it was mainly cool just because I was excited to see a Transit. I was really stoked that there was a Transit here. It had a canopy out the side of it, which was awesome. It looks like it was kind of done by Coachman. And when you come into it, let's stop right there. That overhead cabinet in the Transit is freaking awesome. That is something I've been trying to figure out how to do. What would it look like? And in here, take you up to the front of the van. Basically what you're looking at in here is the cabinet sits right on the top of that piece there. So you still have your storage there and in these 2 pockets and on this side, but from the top of that coming back to these 2, this guy here and this guy here, you have a cabinet with an overhead cabinet, and that's pretty cool. I mean, you could really, not heavy things in there, but you could really put some cool stuff in there. So the Transit they had there was, you know, it was nice, dual wheel, $87,000 or $88,000, and all these prices are their show prices. And honestly, what we found out when we were looking for RVs you can pretty much always get their show price. But one of the things I noticed with a lot of these units, and you see as I'm kind of cameraing through there, they have a couple of things. A, they all have the AC units in the ceiling. B, they all have, I would say 99% of them have microwaves in them, and the stand-up refrigerators. And I guess from the dealer perspective, they put that stand-up refrigerator in there so people have extra room. We don't feel with the Dometic that we're running out of space at all. You know, we're good for 2, 3, 4 days with the Dometic. With the drinks in there, we just put stuff in the back, and when we're done, you know, as we're using them, we bring them up. Again, shower in the Transit with the inside toilet. You know, the only piece of this, the showers and the toilets, is they're so skinny. I'm not sure, like, I don't know how you maneuver in it, but that's just me. Transit, this is my only problem with you, is that console right there. You take away all of our legroom to be able to get out of the seat and walk back into the cab. It can be done, but it's a little bit of a challenge versus the other ones. Here's that cabinet again, and that overhead cabinet's pretty cool. Now granted, it's one more thing that I will in fact hit my head on, but I'm gonna put that cabinet in there. That's a pretty awesome storage place. So I got a lot of good footage of that. The Mercedes Revel. This is, man, if I had all the money and I didn't know what to do with it, this would be probably one of the first things I'd buy. I would certainly modify the inside because the inside of it is kind of utility looking, which is cool, but, you know, I guess, I don't know, I guess that's a good thing because, as I say, I would probably just wreck a really nice one on the inside, but the outside of this van is just so freaking sweet looking. And here's a good example of what I'm talking about with the console on the Mercedes, how they're flat. They got all kind of leg room where you can just get up out of the seat and walk back into the cab. And that's just awesome. But the Revel, I'm a pretty big fan of. I don't know that I care for the fact that they put the back seat in it, and it doesn't look like a very comfortable seat. It's got, again, a really flashy panel on it with all of these controls and AC in it and so forth. I just don't know that you need all of that stuff. And you know, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some things there, but personally, I'm just not seeing it. And at $125,000 for this thing, again, hey, if I had all the money and didn't know what to do with it, this would be a second car. But $125,000 for something that I'm going to still have to do work on. I do like the fact that the bed lifts up to the ceiling, exposing the underneath. And that's great if it would be great for my bikes. It would be great if you had motorcycles and so forth. But with kayaks, I got to imagine that's still going to be pretty tough. You know, we're kayak people, and on freshwater, kayaks are 10 foot, our kayaks are 10 foot long. Saltwater, we're going to be looking at more like 12 to 13 foot long. So that's just not something I'm going to be putting inside here. But again, future video, we're finding some good solutions to that. The outside of the Revel is just, it's just so cool. I can't say enough about how cool the outside of this thing is. I love the ladder going up the back. It's something I want to put on the Transit. I do want to put a rack on the top of the Transit. And the wheels on this thing just look monster. I love them. And I like the sides it's kind of like a pop out, but it's not. Just the body kind of juts out a little bit, and that's pretty cool. They had a Promaster there, which was probably the cheapest unit I saw there, which wasn't terrible, but I like the idea of the pop-up camper, the pop-up tent out of the roof, but you know, it just, again, it's one more thing you got to take care of. And when you come back after a rainy event, when you're away, now you've got all that canvas is wet. Now what do you do with it? And for somebody like myself who drives the van every day, I can't drive around every day with the top up and taking it to work, etc. But it is a really cool, it's a really cool concept. And if it is, you know, something where it's an extra vehicle you have, I can see, and I've seen videos where people actually live in these things, you know, full-time van lifers, where they have the tent tops, and that's pretty cool. I like it. Again, the front of the Promaster, it's kind of set in so you can get up, you have that leg room, and you can kind of walk back to the cab. That's a real failure of the Ford Transit, and Ford, you need to fix that. At $75,000 was the cost of this tent top. Yeah, the tent top, and that was the cheapest one I saw all day. Again, a nice unit, but that tent top, while it brings the price down, it also is one more thing you have to take care of. There was one Promaster there that had an interesting concept with the bathroom and the shower in the back. Now, on one hand, that's really interesting, gives you more room. I kind of like it for that idea, but on the other hand, I feel like you're wasting those 2 rear doors in the back. Like, what do you do with it? It's a bathroom and a shower, and that's all now it's ever going to be. You can't store anything there. You can't do anything. I like it, but I don't like it. But, you know, hey, that's RVs, you know. Actually, the bed in this one is moved forward, and unfortunately, I woke up a gentleman, and he was taking a nap, and honestly, it looked comfortable enough to do that in there. But not a ton of counter space in this Promaster. You see, it still has the standing fridge and the microwave, and at $106,000 and again, that's a show price. Man, that's just a lot of money. But I really did like them, but it's just a lot of money to spend on a van. I threw these little trailers on here just because they really intrigued me, and this is I think this might play into some of our ideas we're thinking of for our van and what we do with the bathroom. This particular unit here, it's tiny, it's efficient, and it even has a full shower and bathroom in it. And they're a little pricey, so I don't know it's something I would buy, but you know, at the same time, it's something that, man, it really could be a good guest house, etc. But what really got me excited about the inside of this one is the Lagoon boat table that they put in there. And this is the first time I actually got to see one of those for real and up close. So this was something that I definitely want to put in this van to give me an extra table up front. And so I wanted to really just kind of play with some of the adjustments on it and see, just, you know, was this a cheap thing? Was it well built? And I can tell you this table is really quality. It's solid. The adjustments are very well crafted. The table's very well crafted. And I'm definitely going to be ordering one of these for the van. And looking at the way the mount plate goes on there, there's plenty of places, at least in our van, that I could bolt this on, and that thing would be nice and sturdy and make a great table. So that's what I have for this week. I hope you found some of the information in this video useful. I'll put as many links as I can from things down in the description of the video. And until next time, we'll see you down the road. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.